Hello, my fellow Voyagers. This is Jess with Odyssey Human. Note our new brand, new name. So welcome. If you're surprised, like this channel had a different name last week, it did. We totally rebranded. So welcome. This is now Odyssey Human. This is where we explore the outer reaches of human consciousness. So we're going to talk about emotional mastery, manifesting, extended human capabilities, and more. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Subscribe if this is your first time here. Welcome. You're here at a major transition point. We'd love to have you. And yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a while, and it feels really good to be in a new name, a new energy. So welcome. I'm happy you're here. Jess. And today we're going to talk about good old manifesting. Like, what is manifesting? And I think a lot of people have a very a linear concept of it, right? It's a conditional behavioral pattern that if I do this, then this will happen, right? That's a conditional if then. And so that tends to involve linear time. And so it's kind of like, what we're used to with baking a cake or, growing a seed, all these analogies that are used in the manifesting community that imply that time has to be involved. And I want to give you a totally different perspective on this of what I've learned from studying manifesting, learning about it, practicing it in my own life. Because behind the scenes of my channel, I have been diligently testing all this stuff and applying it and learning it and experimenting with it to see what happens. And so we're going to start talking more about what I've found. And this is it today. Getting a whole new view of manifesting, I think, is important to actually be successful at it, especially with emotional mastery, right? So, yeah, and so because people think about manifesting if then conditionally, that means that when you introduce time, you can introduce error because, we associate actions with right actions and wrong actions. So if I'm doing this, but I'm not getting a result, then that means I did it wrong, right? There's this lingering equation of error that gets introduced into the mix. So I want you to start maybe thinking in terms of, when you think about manifesting instead or reality creation, which we're going to talk about in a second, think about it in terms of space. Because we're actively manifesting our entire experience of life every second. We've been doing that since we came into the world until our dying day. We are actively simulating and then projecting reality into our own consciousness. And so it's all contained within us. Everything we've ever experienced is really contained within us. I kind of hinted at this on the old brand. I'll link the video above in case anyone wants to check it out, about how reality is a dream in our senses. And that's kind of how manifesting works. So if you think about it, anything you've ever experienced came about because of this process of simulation, projection, and then what's called prediction error. So when we're simulating and then we're experiencing, but then it doesn't match up with what we anticipated, it's called prediction error in cognitive science or emotion science. And so then our brain has to adjust. Like we've predicted something, but then it didn't happen. And so we have to adjust our simulation, our expectations. But I want you to think about everything in terms of space, right? Because space is, again, a construct that we take for granted, that we experience every day. So spatial relationships. So for instance, let's take Chicago. You have we all have a spatial awareness. Maybe some of us don't. This is a big assumption that Chicago exists. Even if you're not in Chicago right now, maybe you are. I'm not in Chicago right now. I have an awareness though that it's there, that it has a presence, that has an anchoring in space somewhere. But really, what's happening, if you look at it from a manifestational perspective, is it's anchored in my consciousness somewhere, right? I'm assuming that it has a place. I've experienced it as a place that I created within my consciousness that I call Chicago. And so that representation of Chicago, I give it this like spatial agency, right? To exist. It exists in my consciousness somewhere, and I know I can go there. If I wanted to go to Chicago, I would go there. And what that means is I'm really then simulating what Chicago is and experiencing that in my own consciousness. So, and even if you're not there, if you're not present there, you still perceive it's, if you're not there actively experiencing it and in it, if you're not in Chicago, right? If you're not actively creating a simulation of Chicago, you still are aware that it's there somewhere. It has a place, it has a location. And so I want you to start think about manifestation in terms of the spatial awareness, that every state of consciousness that you want, whether it's money, SP, an amazing job, has a place in consciousness where it kind of lives, where it exists. And all we have to do is go there. And this kind of takes away that element of error, right? If I don't worry about messing up Chicago because I know it's there. And if I want to go there, I just go there. I do what I know gets me to Chicago and puts me in that space. Same thing with manifesting. Because if I told you I needed you to manifest Chicago, it would be like, whoa, that's really overwhelming. That idea that I am responsible for creating and simulating Chicago is over. It's like, whoa, that's overwhelming. How do I do that? I just don't think we're used to thinking in that way. But if I tell you to go there, just move there in space, you'd be like, oh yeah, I could do that. I could get on a plane, a train, I could walk. I could watch some videos and just imagine that I'm there. Like, right? It's much easier. We definitely, as humans, identify more with movement, that we have agency in our ability to move versus agency in our ability to create. And I think this is where when people say reality creation, it's overwhelming. It's like, I don't know how to create. How am I creating? And there are lots of books out there, on cognitive science. My favorite, How Emotions Are Made, that explain the process, the actual physiological process of simulation and how we do it. But most people don't have a knowledge of that. And I didn't have a knowledge of that before I started understanding and reading about it. So I think, like I said, it's much easier to think about manifestation in terms of places and space. Think about, because our conscious mind then is responsible for movement. It's not responsible for creation, right? Everything's already created. It's already been created. Again, common concept in manifesting. Everything is already created. We just need to go there. We just need to go to the place in our consciousness. So, what is manifestation? It's learning how to move around your own consciousness so that you can experience Chicago when you want to experience it. And you're already doing this on a daily basis. You're already doing this in your life easily, effortlessly, just, without even having to concentrate. You get in your car, you go somewhere, but that's part of your simulation. You're simulating that experience, right? As you're doing it. That's part of our daily manifestation that we're doing every second of every day. So, yeah. Sorry, checking my notes. I gotta check my notes. And so it's just learning how to navigate. Learning how to navigate through consciousness is what manifestation is. So I think it's really calming. And when I kind of switched over to this bigger picture view of what manifesting is and released the need to be like, okay, the behavioral, like if I do X, then Y will happen. And, that's again, it introduces the possibility of error, or that we're afraid of error, or, what if I messed up? What if I didn't do this right? A lot of self-judgment that we get. Think about it in terms of space. I can go to Chicago anytime I want. Chicago is there, whether I'm in Chicago or not. Think about that in terms of, like I said, anything you want, any state of consciousness you want, happiness, sadness, it's all present in your consciousness as a specific location, as a place. And all you got to do is learn how to move there. And we're going to keep unpacking this and learning how to move, but mull on that concept, think about that concept, start to frame your experience of manifesting as you're moving. Manifesting is moving. It's just moving. You move every day, all the time. You're constantly moving. this is something that's easy to do. We can all do it. And so, yeah, we'll keep unpacking this. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you thought. And I will see you soon. Have a great day. Bye.